Welcome, future masters. Got kind of an interesting game for you. A couple of things show up here I'm going to explain to you. Some crazy business. So, just, run-of-the-mill game. Black was threatening to play bishop to g4, so we stopped that. That's my dad's rule number one. What is he trying to do? Knight f6, threatening to play bishop to g4. So h3 stops it. h6, that really doesn't do anything. So it stops knight to g5 at some point, but that's not happening. So now just getting pieces developed. Now, what's he trying to do to me? Pause the video if you don't know and try to figure it out. 3, 2, 1. We're back. He's threatening to play e5, countering us in the center. So let's stop it. f4. No e5 today, son. It's simple. What is he trying to do to me? Is the rule that my dad says you should ask it basically before every move. What's he trying to do? I swear to you, I have no idea. Knight f6 to d7. Man, that's a mystery. That's not a good move in this position. The other knight to d7 is by far better. But whatever. Knight f3. It's not like he's trying to play f6 because bishop g6 is monster. So you could have played e6 the previous move. Like, okay. So now, you're just going to let me jump in here? I'm going to jump in here. If he takes my knight, I'm going to play, the move to play is f takes. It opens the line of the f file for the rook when you castle. D takes e5 is inferior because it takes your strongly posted d pawn and gets it, kind of in a lesser value position, where the f pawn is a lesser pawn that moves into a commanding position on e5. So the f pawn takes e5, makes that pawn better. The d pawn takes e5, makes that good pawn a little less good. Okay, f takes. You could put this in your engine. The engine will come up with f takes as well. This is a universal truth. So he plays bishop b4. My dude, you're not taking my knight. I need this knight. Knight's going to go to f3. Or possibly support e4. So c3. Get out of my face. Now, this gives white a tremendously restricted dark square bishop. That is the price you pay of this opening. But that's okay. We can play e4 and that bishop transfers into a vicious kingside attacker. So right now with the pawn on e3, the bishop is bad, meaning the pawns on b2, c3, d4, and e3 are blockading his motion. But we'll play e4 at the most beneficial time. So it's temporarily bad. So this is one of those things that sometimes, don't put the pawns on the color of your bishop, or in this case, don't put 5 pawns on the dark squares. Your dark square bishop will be bad. Yes, that's true, but he will be bad temporarily. Now, if he had a pawn on e4 and c4, it'd be bad for a long time. Okay, so that's different. But c3 is a terrific move, and that's the correct move. This knight should have been there earlier. Whatever, dude. He'd have been better off to play c5 and then knight c6 to try and hammer on d4. But, whatever. Pawn takes free bishop. Everybody makes mistakes, right? So he does this. He starts going, attack crazy, which is fine. That's what he's supposed to do. If you're going to lose, go crazy. What, are you going to lose worse? A loss is a loss. So when you're losing, go berserk and try to complicate the position, which is what he's trying to do. When you're winning, simplify. And there's nothing simpler than castling. So this is showing you what happens when someone who actually knows what he's doing makes a mistake. We've all made the mistake of leaving a piece undefended. It happens to everybody, trust me. Better players than you or I, it's happened to them. So queen takes b4 as his threat. So I'm like, you know what? I have good use for this knight, but I need my queen in front of it. So let's go here and threaten a checkmate. He has to defend the threat. He castles into it, actually. It's not a direct threat, so he's not quite castling 100% to it, but he's castling into a kingside attack if he's not careful. All right. A3, simple and effective. There's no reason to let him have that pawn when it's going to cost him. It's going to be a pain in the butt for him to take it. So good luck with that. Good luck with taking that pawn, buddy. You're going to waste your time on the queen side for one measly chump B pawn while I'm going to develop my pieces and get him attacking your king? Deal. Ooh, A5. Well, I guess I'll take it. Ooh, rook takes A5. That move does nothing. So Black's mistake that he's doing here is that he's flexing his advantageous muscles on the queen side where there's nothing to attack, essentially. If White flexes his muscles and attacks on the king side, there's a king over there. So you got to be very careful. You know, things that are threatening to occur is stuff like maybe knight to h4. Or I could play knight to g5 and he can't stop it. Knight g5, h takes g5, queen h7 is mate. So he cannot stop knight to g5. This is the value of queen to h5 a few moves ago. Like I said, I needed my queen in front of my knight for this kingside assault. Knight to f3 was where I knew it was going. So I want to put the queen where it's going to be the most flexible. f5. Well, that kind of stops knight g5. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Knight f6, good move. Well, here's a move for you. How's this grab you? He was like, this is probably not too good. That's probably what he was thinking. So, I mean, he's doing a good job here of reducing the effect of the kingside attack. But what's happening while he is doing that, what's happening to him is that my position is getting better because I'm exchanging pieces off, maximizing my one-piece advantage. So I take this knight. Now he's, coming up with these, cheap shot ideas, which is good, but what is he trying to do to me? It's my dad's rule. It's pretty basic stuff. His threat is you may or may not be able to see it depending on your rating ability. So if you want to look for it, I guess look for it, by pausing the video. But it's not obvious until I mention it to you because you're just, most of you guys are probably not strong enough to envision what threat this guy is actually working on generating. So we'll not do it yet. I guess we'll wait a move. So this b4 is so I can move my bishop to either b2 or d2 for wherever it's most useful. Okay. So now at this point, I would say try to figure out what Black's ideas are. You could sit there for 5 or 10 minutes and not figure it out. It's an understanding thing. It doesn't, really mess with. It's not your ability to somewhat visualization, but anyway, if you want to look for it, you can pause the video and we'll be back in 3, 2, 1. We're back. So Black's entire quote-unquote attack is based upon knight moves, rook takes f1 check. Okay, good luck with that. He has 3 guys attacking f1, so all I need are 3 guys to attack to defend f1. So bishop to d2 works on that. Now I've just added a defender to f1. So again, now my bishop is bad, but I do have theoretically bishop to e1, bishop to g3 or h4. It's not, my bishop is not a problem. I have an extra piece. So this is not a problem for me. He's running out of ideas of what to do. You know, he's coming up with this, you know, whatever. I'm like, dude, you're just going to make my bishop better. I don't care. So now I flex the muscles and show him, hey, guess what? Your entire threat is completely impotent. You got 3 attackers on f1. How many defenders does white have? I got an a1 rook, 1. I've got a g1 king, 2. And I've got a h2 knight, 3. 3 defends 3, and mine are equal or lesser in value. So he can't attack me. He'll lose. Who cares? I dare you to take me. So I foresaw what is he trying to do to me with his rook f5 idea. So I'm playing queen to b5 even before he played it, and worked to reduce the impact of that plan. His game is completely busted. He's a piece down. I'm sitting here I let him complete his plan because it's no good. Well, it was a good plan if you don't defend against it, but I defended against it, and that's why it's not any good. So it's one of those things. It wasn't actually bad. He was doing as much as you can do within reason to complicate and give himself a chance, a tactical chance. If I make a mistake, he's going to checkmate me or win a rook or whatever, which is what you should do. So now what he's doing is making my bishop better. Awesome. It's awesome. So I was looking for this. You know, what was he planning on? You know, he's coming up with bishop to b7. I'm like, really, dude? That's what you came up with. Crunch. So this is a devastating move, but this is just a byproduct of him being a piece down under tremendous pressure. You know, the psychological pressure of being a piece down and fighting, and then having your quote-unquote secret attack just neutralized. It's really depressing. So, you know, bishop to b7, I take it. I'm going to take his rook now. Take. He can't take it. I mean, he's dead if he takes it. It doesn't really matter, but you're dead anyway. So I'm like, dude, you probably should take my rook. Give yourself a dream. He didn't. I'm like, well, what move would you play here? You might want to pause the video, and we'll be right back. 3, 2, 1. We're back. Did you play this move? Crunch. Rook takes queen threat, followed by pawn takes bishop threat. So, you know, he came up with the best move he could think of, and really he doesn't have a good move. Well, that's actually not correct. He actually does have a good move that I missed, and so did he. It doesn't matter. But now I'm looking at it going, he's got queen. See if you can figure out what it is. I told you what piece it is. So he's got a good move, actually. So pause the video, see if you can figure out what his good move, what his best defensive move is. He still loses, but at least he's got a decent move. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. He could play queen a6 or queen to b6 to pin my pawn to my queen so that I can't play pawn takes bishop. So I really thought c6 was winning a piece, and it's not. He's got a defense. But he didn't see it either. If he'd have played queen a6 or b6, I would have realized, oh man, you're pretty smart. you gotta give credit where it's due. Okay, that'd be a smart move, but he didn't play that. He played a move that looks good, but really isn't. You know, it kind of enters into a desperado. Rook takes queen, bishop takes queen. And I could have done that and just to let him feel good about himself, but that's just not who I am. So I took his rook. I squashed him with the desperado in-between move of something, something, check, queen takes rook, check. This is what crushes desperados. When you go into a desperado, you've got to look for these check in-between moves or in-between move threatening checkmate. He did not, and he paid the price. So, you know, this isn't a super good game, but there was a lot of instructive elements that would make it interesting to a student more so than anybody else. You know, he did a good job of trying to generate counterplay and confusion, but when you've been around the block many times, it's hard to trick a master. Okay, let's just be honest. So, I mean, I was on top of his threats, all of those, and then, like I said, I let him do that F1 attack and just neutralized it, which is depressing as all get out. So it's one of those deals. Yeah, and at this point, you know, he just resigned. So he did the best he could because he did create a tremendous you know, opportunity for himself. I mean, you got to give him credit. Playing rook f5 was a good move. The idea of rook to f5 was really good. And the problem for him was that it was very slow for him to get his bishop on b7. But he did give himself, I really did want to play knight to e5. I'm not joking. But he didn't let me play it. So that was a good move on his part. And I didn't want to play bishop to d2 because he played queen takes pawn. I don't want to, you know, let him just run into there. And I could have done it, actually, now that I think about it. But at the time, I was like, no, you know. But I could have played bishop d2 because queen takes pawn on b2, bishop to b4, attacking the rook. And now I'm going to play, his queen has not attacked f1. So now at that point, I would have played knight to e5. But I just thought it was, simpler. When you're winning, you don't have to be a little, sneaky. Just win. And to me, b4 and the bishop move wherever I want to put it, it's just an easy win. So I'm not trying to end the game 10 moves shorter. I would much rather play 30 easy moves than 15 or 18 or 20 where I have to do some crazy calculations to get the razor edge of I don't want to do that. It's too much work. b4 is no work. So, he played a great move. Queen to b5. He's created maximum threats. So you really got to give him some credit that he's dead lost. Okay, and you saw that. I know he's dead lost. He knows he's losing badly. But he's done everything. His rooks are maximized. His queen is there assisting the rooks. If I make a mistake, I'm toast. If I accidentally bump my mouse and hit the knight and move it, I'm dead. So he's done everything. He's given, when you're losing like this, you want to give yourself a chance to get lucky. And he did that. So you've got to recognize when your opponent is doing something that's smart, even if it doesn't work. Because he played smart in this regard. I played even smarter. And that's the difference. It wasn't that he played bad. I mean, he made it. We all make the mistake of not moving a piece when it was attacked. Because it happens, because you're human. You're not perfect. So he did all that, which was fine. This is the move that a good player would go, oh my dude, I'm dead. The better the player you are, the more likely that the better the player black is, the more likely he resigns at this position. Because the good player, as he's stronger, 2000, etc., and above, they're like, oh, dude, this whole thing is completely worthless. He maximized the position of his three major pieces, and it comes up with a giant 0. It's all even. He cannot generate a shred of an advantage out of it. I let him do that, and he was just like, oh, dude, this sucks. Once you play Knight H2, you've demonstrated that you saw the entire thing, and you've got this under control, and he's got no shot. So he played on. There's nothing wrong with playing on, but it's just one of those things that, it's like, oh, dude. You want to get out of this game and go to something else, whatever. You're wasting, the only thing he's doing wrong here is he's dead lost and he knows it. And unless this is the last game of the night he's playing, he should just quit this game and put his energies somewhere else. Okay? So that is the only quote unquote mistake he's making by continuing to play on. Because, when you see this, you're like, oh, dude, I'm screwed. This guy just let me do everything I wanted to do, and it doesn't work. So, whatever. But the positive, the mistake part is he's wasting energy mentally to do this. But on the good side, you have to say, at least he's fighting. He's not quitting. Okay? So you can go either way with that. But just wanted to show you guys an example of how to handle this kind of position when you get a win a piece or get a good advantage, how to consolidate and how to make certain decisions, to where I played like B4. Just no reason to get crazy. Craziness is when you're losing. You can get a little loose with your things and whatever and take shots because you're already losing. You can't. He can play any move he wants. Queen takes F1, so he's already lost. It doesn't matter. He's not going to lose more. When you lose, you lose. You can't double lose or triple lose. Okay, this isn't like poker. In poker, you could triple lose or whatever by throwing your money down the rabbit hole. But that's the thing. So just wanted to give you guys this little bit of a insider's look at what's going on. So hopefully you like this game. Like the video. Comment, tell me what you thought about that, especially the combo of letting him do his thing. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. You'll get more gold. Pretty awesome. So you guys know what to do. I'll talk to you later. I'm out.